We'll start with the original, The Howling from 1981. After a bizarre and near deadly encounter with a serial killer, a television newswoman is sent to a remote mountain resort whose residents may not be what they seem. Director is Joe Dante, also known for Gremlins and Rock and Roll High School. Writers are John Sayles, Gary Brantler, and Terry Winkless. The final transformation had to be done all in close up because the movie had exceeded its budget by then. And this had to be shot in Joe Dante's office because they had no money for sets anymore. Oh, wow. I'm kind of impressed with that, actually.
Hell yeah.
Steve, you want to start us out on The Howling?
Yes. So let's not get it twisted. It's not a good movie. It's not well acted. It's not well edited. It's not well paced. The music is fucking all over the place. Like there's supposed to be 10 scenes and there's some fucking weird bum 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 weird fucking bouncy music in the background. Right? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know what this movie wants me to feel right now. Lots of boobs. But the werewolf transformation that you just talked about in Joe Dante's office still, to me, sits as one of the best werewolf transformations. This is right up there with American Werewolf in London. This is top quality shit. This is good shit.
Same year, right?
You can see the seams, but I love that shit. I love the creativity and just see all the practical work and knowing that how much work and craft and just care and love went into all that. Very cool werewolf design. So I thought at the end of the day, I think this is a really cool werewolf movie. I don't think it's well executed and well done, but I think the werewolf parts are fucking awesome. I loved the creepy town in Northern California that they go hang out in and everybody's werewolves. I like that big, we'll get into some details when everybody gets their piece in because I have some thoughts about like they kind of sealed their own fate, those dummies. But but I actually had I went into this thinking it was going to be a lot worse than it was. It's been a long time since I've seen The Howling, and I actually walked away kind of liking this one. 1981's Howling I thought was pretty good.
All right, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, classic werewolf movie. Not my favorite, but everything with the werewolves is spot on. The transformation. I like that when they attack somebody, they're just not attacking and biting and clawing. They're like that one girl in the doctor's office. The werewolf backhands her and throws her around the room. Like they're more vicious than this one.
Yeah, right.
I thought the cast was great. Dee Wallace. We got other little bit parts from big names like Kevin McCarthy, John Carradine. Dick Miller shows up. And yeah,
I love the guy
that
just has the box of silver bullets. It's like, hey, you want these? Like, fucking never came and picked them up. That guy from Gremlins, he's in everything.
They were all back.
Yeah.
He backordered him and never came and got him. Like that was like thousands of dollars, solid silver bullets.
That guy shows up later and he drops what looks like maybe $20-$30 and he tells him to bill me.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know who you are.
Like that's like a $17,000 box of fucking bullets right there. And there's like 4 of them. You can't just go in there shooting willy-nilly on a whim,
Yeah.
And
they seem to have an awful lot of them though.
Never trust anybody that says they have a place called the Colony that you have fun at and relax.
Like The Prisoner. Remember we did the Prisoner retrospective?
Yeah.
This gave me some Prisoner vibes.
I don't, but you guys all saw how it was when she first showed up to that place and they were like playing their banjos and cooking weird rabbit stew and shit. You're like, I wouldn't have even stayed the night at this motherfucker. I'd have been like, nah, bro, I'm cool.
Well, see,
I'm out of here.
They had that reaction because she even says, "Take me home."
Yeah, that's true.
That girl comes up to her husband.
He knew he was gonna get it in, so he was like, we should just stick it out.
Even the other werewolves were like, "Oh, she's an info."
He kind of blew her off though early,
Well,
he's playing hard to get, bro.
His wife was right there.
Okay.
And that whole business in the cabin, he was just cementing that it was gonna happen when he walked away from that. He's like, shh. You see him look her up or down before he walked away. He's like, got you. And then he left. I was like, damn, power
What a
move.
pimp! What a
Because
pimp! Right?
what's the
Power
first
move,
thing?
Roy.
What's the first
God.
thing he does when he turns into a werewolf? He goes and fucks that girl.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
He's like, I got to now.
In fairness.
Yo. And I wasn't sure. And then that campfire scene happened, and I was like, yep, sure now.
And I thought the end scene was hilarious. The D. Wallace transformation scene.
Into a chinchilla. The fuck was that?
Well,
She
Which is
transformed
even-
into she was a were-gerbil.
Which is even worse
Oy.
in the next one.
She looked like an Ewok.
a werewolf.
When end credits on a burger being totally cooked wrong.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
I know.
who the fuck
Did-
cooks their burger like that?
Like, and I know everybody
Well-
notices it. I know everybody knows it. Like when that one part of the burger falls off, and then he like just kind of pushes it
Move-
back into. I'm like,
moves
that
it.
ain't gonna
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
do anything.
Kind of irritating.
Yeah.
Well,
fucking
she did
fair.
say rare, but he looked like he was cooking the fuck out of it, right? Like that wasn't rare. Rare, you
He
just
broke
kinda
it in
flip
half when he
and
flipped
flip
it over.
again.
Yeah.
I know.
What a goober.
Anyway.
We're dissecting the wrong parts.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
It was a weird end credit scene though. Lance, what do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, so my favorite werewolf movie of all time is definitely American Werewolf in London. Like, yeah, like that's an awesome one. But watching this one for probably the fourth or fifth or sixth time, I've seen this movie quite a bit actually, and I'm kind of thinking I might like this more. I really enjoyed this fucking movie.
Should have had Tim Davis on here. He made a comment on the Facebook page.
Did he? And
Said
we didn't read it.
American Werewolf in London is his all-time favorite, and you can't change his mind.
Oh.
No, I don't.
I wouldn't want to
your
change
mind.
anybody's mind. for
Yeah,
that one. That's a good movie.
Yeah, that is probably still my favorite, honestly, because the transformation scenes were amazing for one thing, and then the story was good. But I mean, this was a fun fucking movie, guys. I mean, you got the whole first 20 minutes, which is where Dee Wallace is meeting up with the serial killer because she's a reporter, so it's her job to tell the story and, you know, bring the news, but it's not her job to necessarily get him arrested. So she kind of
It's
goes
also
in
not her job to go meet a serial killer in a fucking dirty movie house
and that's what
watch
was
porn
kind of,
with him.
I know
Weird.
that's what was weird about it. And then
Yeah,
like
she-
he stands behind her and grabs her shoulder.
It's like,
Right,
watch,
I like
It's like, oh my
I like
God.
how they lose communication with her, and they're just kind of like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what? I'm not sure what we should
Start
do. Her
blasting.
Yeah.
Her husband's like,
Maybe
what the
not-
fuck? What do
maybe
you mean
not
you
the
lost
smartest.
communication?
See if there's any units in the area. I was like, see if
Did
there's
I-
any. They weren't already there.
I know.
I know.
What do you mean
I know.
if? What are you talking about here? Yeah,
Guys,
that's-
did I miss something in that opening scene? Because remember, they were watching a movie about a girl like being tied down and her shirt ripped off. Was that part of the werewolf cult?
See, you paid
Or was
attention
that-
more to that movie than this movie.
Oh,
paid
I don't
attention
know.
to
I
it,
don't think so.
but Maybe it was just random. Okay. Anyway,
Well,
I
he was saying something about the girl in the video, how she lied, and
Oh, maybe you're right because he is from the werewolf cult, so maybe he took that video because that was his video that he was making her watch. So maybe.
yeah. I mean, they could have gone a little bit more into that, and that might have made more sense.
I
But
don't-
yes, once she was advised to go to the colony, it's like everybody. I love conspiracy theory movies, guys. Y'all know this. And once she was convinced by her psychiatrist to go to the colony, and her husband was like, "Oh, it's cool," and she's like, "I don't know about this. Can we turn around and go home?" And while they're in the car, he's like, "No, give it a chance." I'm like, "Okay, everybody's in on it, right?" So it's
Oh,
like
you
a
thought this was
Rosemary's
like-
Baby
yeah.
type thing.
I see. What
Yeah,
you're saying.
and I was like, I was really fucking digging that. And then they got to the colony. You've got all these weird characters. They're like super cool, right? Like all these amazing, you know, like you said, the guy, you know, cooking the rabbits, or the chick cooking the rabbit stew, and then the guy turning the meat on the spit over the fire, and they're all like on this you know, we already
Yeah,
know Northern
they're fine.
California.
Well,
They're
John
fine, but
Carradine.
it's the guy wearing the animal skins with the buck teeth whittling and the fucking banjo. That's
Well,
the
John
shit that
Carradine.
made me
John
fucking.
Carradine was ready to end it. He was like, I can't take no more of this.
He
But
was.
then they
He
calmed
was
him
ready.
down. But then they calmed him down. So
He was like, "There needs to be
I
a
loved all
gun."
that. I loved all that. I think the werewolf story was like spot on. When I was rewatching this, I was thinking this may be my favorite werewolf movie of all time. And the transformations were good. They weren't as good as American Werewolf in London, but they were pretty damn good, man.
You know
Good
what else it
special
has?
effects.
It has the setting, the proper setting. You need that
Yes!
forest setting.
Yeah.
My favorite werewolf movie of all time, Dog Soldiers, has this. It's not the Pacific Northwest, but it is a forest setting. I feel like you need that. And the husband walking
you
around with his
do.
puffy vest, his blue puffy vest, and his yellow shirt, and his tight jeans, and his white sneaks. There's something about that fit with his haircut that I'm like, it's just nostalgia, man. This feels like a good werewolf movie when I see that fit.
Yeah.
Some of the photography, right, where you would see the trees and the fog through the trees, and it all tied into the werewolf mythos to me perfectly. And then I had
Well,
no
speaking
problem
on that, I
with
like that we were learning about it as those two were investigating. We were learning with them. They were calling out everything that would come into play later, like dismembering the werewolf, and then they would regenerate body parts back.
Yeah.
Oh, the friends that got called in the middle of the night and were like, "What? Your husband just got attacked by a wolf?" The fuck?
Oh,
Okay, I guess yeah. Well,
that guy's a horrible husband.
yeah, he's like, yeah, you head up there now, and I'll hang out here for a bit, and then I'll follow behind you. Like, what the fuck do
What
you
a
mean?
dick.
Because they're investigating werewolves probably
Like,
do exist, and
it's-
then their
it's
friend
LA.
gets called. They get called.
Yeah, because they're also
They're-
reporters, right?
It's
yeah,
L.A.
their fr-
It's a 6-hour drive to where, like, but you go ahead and go first. Like, damn, like gas prices
I'll
were
meet you
great
there.
back then. And like,
I mean, you gotta read the signs. I mean, they were even watching a wolf cartoon when it was going on.
Oh, I
It's like
love that.
all
I
the signs
fucking
were pointing at
love-
the werewolves may exist.
Yep.
I'm
yep. I
not
love
gonna send
they
my
tied
wife
that
up
in,
there
right?
by herself and then go to the
Yes.
office.
They tied that in, and then they were watching the original Universal Wolfman movie at certain parts, and
Yeah.
I just think it was a
also-
masterful film. I
he
really enjoyed this.
he cares not at all about his wife. Like,
yeah.
he goes back to the fucking station to film Dee Wallace's confession. Like, his
I
wife
know.
is dead. He hasn't even like processed it. I guess he doesn't know. Maybe
No,
but he doesn't give a shit to look.
she told him, "Where's such and such?" And she's like, "Oh, he's dead." And then he had no reaction to it.
He's like,
Yeah.
Just like
let's
stone
go.
face.
We gotta get back to the station.
He didn't like her.
I was
anyways.
I was gonna ask her for a divorce anyways. To be honest, it's kind of tidy shit up for me. So yeah.
This
Didn't
kind
like
of
her
worked.
anyways.
This kind of
You got
worked,
that-
right?
You got that scene when the phone's ringing and he's like, "Oh, I'll get
Uh-huh.
it," and he's like sliding her out the bed.
Yeah.
That's right.
Get out of here. Go out. Don't you have somewhere to be? God damn.
Man,
Now he gets
what do
the
you- what do
insurance
you-
payments.
What do you think, Philip? I enjoyed this quite a bit.
Yeah, I actually had a pretty good time with it too. I watched the Howling 2 first, because I
Interesting, okay.
found that one on Tubi, and then had to go track this one down. So after the ridiculousness that is the Howling 2, I was like, oh, this one's like kind of a legit movie. And it kind of is, man. I thought it was pretty good. I had a really good time with it. I like the design of the werewolves. The ears were a little much, maybe, but I thought it looked good, man. I liked the transformation scene. Obviously, not as good as American Werewolf in London, but I mean, that's the best one.
Real quick, as we're talking about the Howling, I think NECA just announced that they're doing a figure of the wolf.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Sideshow Collectibles has a quarter scale statue too that is incredible. But
And another
way
thing,
too
do you
much
think
money.
this is where Werewolves was trying to go for with the look?
Okay.
I think so.
can see
Yeah.
that.
I
Sorry,
think that
I
was the
know.
goal.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what
And-
the fuck Werewolf was going for with the look. I
And
hate
that's-
that movie.
That's kind of what it's all about, is the design, and I
Ugh.
think they had a pretty good design on this one. Like,
Did you
they
watch
looked
that yet?
menacing. Werewolves, yeah.
I mean,
We've all
no,
seen it.
Brian.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't
it's
hear you
it-
finally
it's
comment on it.
exactly what you guys said. You and Phil's review on werewolves is probably one of my favorite reviews ever.
that shit was
That was a good one.
I was so mad at that movie. It was so much work to get to a theater that was even showing it, and then to leave and be like, for that? Like, I was so mad.
And even though I sat and listened to all the spoilers, when that little girl was like, "Yeah,"
I know.
it was just
that shit was terrible.
That's funny.
Like, I face palmed in the theater when that happened.
You weren't the only one.
No, but yeah, but I had a really good time with this one. It's one this one I think I've seen before, but I haven't ever seen any of the sequels until now.
Okay.
So this should be an exciting journey. But we're off to a great start. I had a really good time with it.
I love the
Nice.
old school effect, but before CGI, when you couldn't do that, you'd actually have to animate over the top of the film cells. 1989's Batman has
Yes,
a
there
great
were a
scene
few
of that
scenes-
where the Batman turns around in the opening and you see his cape kind of flow. That's all hand drawn over the film
Oh.
cells.
Yeah.
It's not
There
It's
was
not a real
definitely
person.
some hand drawn shit.
in this one,
right?
when
Right,
the two
Steve?
worlds are fucking at the campsite.
Yeah.
And it goes back and you see it in silhouette and he's like, oh, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all drawn. It's all hand. Like, I was like, damn, man. It was
fun, though,
somebody
right?
got called up and was like, all right, I got a job for you. Now hear me out. I need you to draw something. Hear me out. They're gonna be two wolves fucking. No, wait, don't hang up. So good.
Doggy
I-
style, I
The
presume.
conversations that must have gone
Wolfie
on
style.
to get these movies made, like it just. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall. Like the
I
people,
know.
the
out
productions
there.
would have been so much chaos. They ran out of budget and out of time. They ran out of money and nowhere to film their shit.
But it worked.
But they were all still
it worked.
passionate about it.
Yeah.
To
so much
rock
fun.
that transformation scene when your budget's already dead is pretty awesome.
Agreed.
I liked when you saw him at the end after he got the acid thrown on him or whatever, and he's walking around and
Right.
like half his fucking face is off. Like some of those
Yeah.
makeup effects are great.
Yeah, that was pretty good, actually. That's a good idea.
He gives the guy the gun. He's like, here. And then he immediately gets shot with a silver bullet. I'm like, man, that was a bad decision, bro. The worst fucking thing you would have like smelt it or something, holding that gun, like
Right.
Was it just me, or did he have unlimited silver bullets?
Yeah.
It seemed that way,
Unlimited.
didn't it?
And it
For
didn't
sure.
matter where you shot him. It was like you could graze him, dead. You could
I know.
hit him in the tummy, dead.
There's
But
an
I guess
awful lot
that's
of
silver
wolves in
bullet.
this motherfucker, too.
Well, and then he's like, there's like 6 of them, and they're all like, bah, they're doing the thing where they just growl and like show their teeth, and then he like
Yeah.
points the gun, and they all back up like this, like and they all back up like and then they shut the doors on him, and then they're like, let me out. I'm like, well, why'd you back up to begin with if you didn't? Like, you were already outside. You put yourselves there. They're gonna light it on fire, and they're like, "Oh no, we're burning in the fire." I'm like, "But you did it. You made yourselves go into the burning building of straw and wood." So dumb.
Like
It's like the big bad wolf. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I was thinking.
But then you get the great scene at the end when Dee Wallace goes to the thing, and she's like, she starts transforming, and everyone's like, "Oh no!" They're all shocked. The guy's like, "Cut the camera, cut it!" And when it finally cuts back to her face, and it's quite obviously like a very small miniature that they've done a massive close up on, because like I don't even know, it just looks so weird.
It
Just
didn't look like any
it
of
looks
the
like a
other wolves
stuffed
in the
animal,
movie.
like being
Yeah.
turned to look towards the camera. It's just silly shit.
And then they shot her live on camera.
Dead.
Yeah. Well, seems like if she could have controlled it, they.
I like that old guy at the bar too. He's like, "Nope, that's real. There was a werewolf, and they shot her."
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
I forgot about that guy.
And credits.
All right. What's your score on it, Steve?
I'm gonna give the Howling on the Howling scale. Like, this is the best Howling movie. I'm gonna tell you that right now,
Yeah.
off the top. This is gonna be the best made Howling movie.
Better than the marsupials?
Yes, this is better than the fucking one that takes place in Australia. Yes.
I'm curious about that.
I'm gonna give this an 8 on 10. Howling, the original.
All
Howling.
right. Brian?
I got a Price is Right at 8.5.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Wow.
Lance?
8 on 10. 8
Wow.
on 10. This is my second favorite werewolf movie.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go 8 also. I think it's a classic. I think this one is actually a legitimately good movie. Like the rest of them
I do too.
seem to go into very insane places, and this one is just fun.
But some of them might shock and like amaze you at the crazy places it goes, which may help the rating. Like,
That's
it
also
wasn't
true.
great,
We
but
shall
like
see.
it went fucking nuts.
Right.
We shall see.